everybody. Welcome to In the Air on CricTracker. Mera naam hai Nivedna Prabhu. We are, of course, discussing everything that transpired today in the third match test series, of course, of day two. And who better to discuss everything to do with this than our experts, of course, joining us once again. Let's bring on our first guest, Rakesh Deva Reddy, who, of course, we did not have to discuss, his opinion. So it's great to have him back. Rakesh, welcome back. What did you think of what transpired today?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, but still, I think that India have very least chances of getting out with a draw in this Test match because there are 3 days of game, and almost England is having a lead of 345, just 5 runs short of having 350 runs lead, and Craig Overton, he's playing really well. We saw him coming ahead of Robinson, who we have saw coming in that position in the first two Test matches. It was very good batting performance by the captain Joe Root, and the top order also supported really well. That's where the problem England was facing in the couple of Test matches, and the guy who have been added in this Test match has performed really well. So overall, England would be very much pleased with the current situation they are in. And but the body language, what Indian players or Indian captain was showing on the ground, particularly for the first session and second session of today's game, it was not. It was not acceptable body language, because as a captain, if you are showing that negative body language, then how are your players going to perform? So there are few things which India have to look after coming forward into the next day. But let's see what's going to happen on day three.
Right. I mean, that we will talk a little bit about, those aspects of probably what went wrong for Team India and also like what Rakesh pointed out. But before we continue that, let's get on, our next guest, Pratyay Tiwari, who is a content creator. And for the ones who, sending in your questions, please continue to do so. And our guests, of course, will be taking those questions as well. Pratyay, welcome back. I think we did predict this in the pre-match analysis that number one, if Joe Root cannot be uprooted, then the damage will pretty much be done over there. But to kind of just, for starters, how do you look at this? It's probably not in India's hand anymore. Is that how you would summarize it?
Well, yes. I would hate to say that, but yes, that is how it really stands. I think it's a classical case of being doomed, because if you see how the things have been going on in the last 2 days, absolutely nothing has gone in India's favor, neither with the bat nor with the ball. Again, pretty disappointing and strange tactics as well. We'll talk about them as we go on, but yes, a lot of questions. I think by the end of day two, and it really does not look like that it's the end of just day two. I mean, the way this game has progressed, it almost, I feel so tired. It almost feels like it's day four, but it's just day two. I mean, there's three more days left in the game, and I mean, with 340, 350 runs ahead, England. How do you think can India bounce back? I mean, the only way I see that India could do something is they come out to bat and score 600 runs, and I don't think if that's going to happen, or that's really possible. I would be extremely surprised if that really happens. So, yes, pretty much out of their grips this match. But still, 3 days to go. I don't think that they would just give it up as yet. Let's see how it goes on from here on.
Not wanting to sound rude, but I think with them having been bundled out for 78, can they score 60 successfully is the question. 600 is a little now, another aspect to be looking at it. But Gaurav, we're going to get on our next guest, Gaurav Tripathi, who's joining us, who's a content creator. Gaurav, great to have you. I think this, and once again, we did talk about if that number one, of course, England skipper doing the damage. And number two, we also spoke about England partnerships, and that's pretty much what is cemented the way they performed. But to kind of to give a start as to how you would summarize this, again, are you of the opinion that India has lost the chance?
I think absolutely. Even on the first day, they had a 42-run lead England, and all the 10 wickets in hand were in hand. So I was thinking that if India can take 3 or 4 wickets in the first hour, or even in the first session, then they might have some chances of making a comeback. But looking at the current scorecard, Joe Root scored 100. All from the top four got 50s. It's completely out of India's grasp. Only thing which can save India from here is the weather. Weather has been tricky in England in recent past, but unfortunately for Indian fans, it hasn't played a part in this Test match. So unless and until we are going to see rain in Headingley, India are down and out, and I am seeing this contest to get over by fourth day. And England, if they continue to play like this, they are going to register a massive win.
Right. I mean, I think somebody made that comment earlier in the pre-match show that the only way India can be saved is the weather. So that's pretty much what Gaurav is talking as well. But having said that, let's take a quick look at the scorecard to see where they have, of course, ended today on day two. If you could take a look at the scorecard of how both the teams performed, there, of course, Joe Root, creating the magic that he's been consistently doing so far for his team, 121 out of 165. Mohammad Shami, of course, on the other hand, 3 for 87. In terms of England, of course, leading by 345 runs. I'll come to you, Rakesh, on this. I think technically both Gaurav and Pratyay were of the opinion that, of course, there will be a lead of maybe 250 is the kind of figure that I think they were looking at. But this has gone above and beyond in how. So, what do you think is going to be the strategy of Team India now? Also, considering how you spoke about Virat Kohli's body language, the captain's the mindset, basically. What do you think is the strategy?
There's no strategy. There's a very simple strategy. You have to play as long as possible, but meanwhile, while you're trying to play as long as possible, if you're not trying to look to score runs, then obviously you're going to lose wickets. It's not an easy job to play 3 days of cricket without losing 10 wickets, and that too in
Yeah.
conditions like England, where you got all out for 70 odd runs in the first innings and having a massive lead, which has been put by England, and they haven't declared yet. Maybe I think they are going to play the first session tomorrow. Unless if they get all out, I don't think England are going to declare. So it is really going to be tough. I don't think India will have any strategy because there's no room for them to put a strategy and go according to the strategy. Simple thing, you have to definitely bat the whole 3 days or the 2.5 days, whatever it is, because like some one of our friends pointing out, India have to put something around 600 plus to put a target in front of England. So playing third innings, scoring 600 plus runs, it's going to be really, really
Very
tough.
tough.
Yeah, and I think in this particular round there were about 80 matches happened, and out of 80, 15 to 16 games have been event. I mean, teams have won by innings and by an innings victory. So this is something this ground, and in the last 10 innings, I think there are four last 10 matches. There are 4 games which a team has won by an innings. So this
Yeah.
ground has bad record.
In terms of course, there were a lot of comments about whether Team India was looking overconfident after that second Test match win at Lords. Of course, one way is
Yeah, I think
they did.
I want to add one point about that. See, when there is a
Yeah.
duration of lot of gap, when you get a victory and when you have a long gap before you play the next test match, obviously it's a human tendency and human psychology. You get into the relaxation mode, and that's what we saw on day one. And the other important thing is when you are in supreme form, when you are scoring runs, and the simple logical thing or the simple strategy what KL Rahul and all the other players who have performed well were following in the first 2 test matches, they missed in the third test match. So obviously that gap, that when you are on a winning streak, obviously that I won't say it as an overconfidence, but the confidence which put a player into that relaxation mode will give this kind of results.
Right. I think because, I mean, one aspect of it is in terms of everybody talking about form. I mean, that conversation is still going on. We did have that earlier about three people. That is, of course, Kohli, Rahane, and Pujara. And I still see those comments pour in, which is why, a lot of people were talking about them being overconfident after that stellar win at Lords. But like Rakesh has said, that his viewpoint and analysis of looking at it. But one player that I would like to talk about from Team India is Ishant Sharma. Pratyay, if you could just shed light about his performance and what you currently think of that.
Well, see, it was surprising. I think there was a question in the pre-show about whether India would be looking to open their bowling with Ishant Sharma, which is when I was saying that the strike bowlers for India is actually Mohammad Shami and Jasprit Bumrah and the likes of Mohammad Siraj. So I was actually
Yeah.
pretty surprised seeing Ishant Sharma bowl the very first over of the day. And even yesterday, I remember the first over that he sent down was there were a couple of extras there, wides and no balls, and was a 10 over ball, 10 ball over that he ended up bowling. So it's actually
Yeah.
surprising because he's one of the senior bowlers and he has had the experience of playing in these shores of the world. But I think it's very strange to see those kind of tactics from him. Even in the pre-show, as I mentioned, that the kind of lengths. I guess that both the places, in terms of the kind of width that the bowlers were offering to the English batsmen, which is where they made mistakes, and not just the width that they offered, but in the lengths as well. If we actually look at where the balls have been pitched as far as the English bowlers are concerned and as far as the Indian bowlers are concerned, you would see a stark difference because English bowlers were getting the wickets bowling fuller, and they were able to exploit all those advantages that we were talking about of this venue of Headingley in the pre-show. But India,
Yeah.
having seen that, and not just having seen that, they were the victims of that. Because see, when you are out as a batsman, you know what mistake you made, and you are a team. You can always tell the bowlers that okay, this is what we have found out. That okay, this is the length maybe where we found some trouble. Maybe you can
Right.
try to do the same to their batsmen, and they might be troubled as well. But on both the days, be it day one or day two, I did not see India trying to do that much. I think yes, 5 or 6 wickets fell in the after tea, but by that time the match was so much out of India's reach that those 5 or 6 wickets have really not made much of a difference. So I think that and expecting from Ishant Sharma was because in the Lord's Test match he was pretty good. He came out well. He was operating with the old ball. He was very effective with that. So I think that that perhaps would have been the reason why Virat Kohli trusted him and even did not bring in Shardul Thakur despite him being fit. But yes, some days it just does not click, which I think was the case. And definitely, you have to give credit to the way England batsmen batted, be it the openers yesterday throughout the last sessions whenever they started to bat, or you talk
Yeah.
about Joe Root today in purple patch. Absolutely, this is what you call purple patch in the form of his life. 3 matches, 3 tons. I think. I mean, you can just not have any words to appraise him. Any words that you have will fall short. And frankly speaking, I was just looking at his numbers in this entire series, and I feel, Nivedna, that just I mean this series is half done. 10 innings is what you can potentially have in a test series. 5 test matches, 2 innings each, 10 innings. He has just played 5 times, and I feel that if he does not play the entire series from here on, still his numbers would be very, very, very impressive for a 5 match series. He is that good already right now. Just 5 innings into the series, he has got 500 runs. That is massive. So we have to give credit to England batters as well, not just the Indian bowlers, but to England batters as well, I think.
It's interesting how you've just made that comment, and one thing is of course obvious comparison to hoga hi. So someone Nihal has commented that 500 से ज़्यादा run बना दिया है जो रूट और कोहली के 74 run इस series. It's interesting to see how no matter who we're talking about in the form, the comparison to Kohli will of course always come. But you're right. We will go a little bit into depth about England's batting, especially what Root has managed to do. But if you could take a look at India's bowling summary once again, I want to come to Gaurav on that particular stats over there. With the fact that, of course, if you could take a look at that stats on our screen once again, please. Jadeja, of course, getting 2 wickets there. Interesting because he has reached 450 wickets milestone across formats. Shami, of course, performing like how both of you were of the opinion that you are placing your bets on Bumrah and Shami, so they managed to, of course, get 1 and 3 respectively. But a little bit about Jadeja, he's managed to now, capitalize on that opportunity in this, innings. How do you view that?
I think it was an important spell for him because many experts and fans have been talking about Ravi Chandran Ashwin's place in the test team because Jadeja didn't get a single wicket in the first 2 games. Yes, he scored some crucial runs. There was a half century as well, but he wasn't getting wickets on England track. England pitches are not known for favoring the spin bowlers, but still the likes of Moeen Ali, he got some wickets, but Jadeja wasn't getting. 450 international wickets. I think he's the fourth left-arm spinner after Shakib, Daniel Vittori, and Rangana Hera to do that. So I think fantastic achievement. But as Pradesh said, that the last 6 wickets fell when the lead was already beyond India's reach. So I think the scorecard, the bowling summary, that doesn't really matter as of now. Mohammad Shami taking 3 wickets, Jadeja getting 2, Bumrah getting 1. So I think all it doesn't matter because this game is far away from India's grasp, and it will be really nothing short of a wonder if India can even snatch a draw from here.
Okay, of course, that is one opinion I think everybody does have, that it is, of course, going to be a wonder if they'll manage to do that. Question has also been, I think Daniel is asked, can India draw the match? Well, like our experts have said, it's a little difficult at the moment, but you never know what's going to happen. I want to quickly come back to Rakesh with the fact that we were speaking about Joe Root, and if we could take a look at most runs by captains in tests in a year. And Rakesh, I want to come to you to talk about how Joe Root, of course, has performed, his technique, because there are comments about the fact that Ashwin would have probably been the key to control Root. So one aspect about talking about him as a performer, and the other aspect is, how why is it so difficult to get him out? With I mean, this the caliber of a player that he is one thing, but in terms of Team India strategy, bowling wise, what is so good about his technique that is just very difficult to get him out from there?
See, he's in supreme form right from the starting of the year when England toured Sri Lanka. Later on, when England toured India, he played well in the first Test match. I guess scored a double century, but he's continuing that form. And the other important thing is one thing is they have that home advantage. Obviously, he being one of the greatest players in this contemporary era. The other important thing, what you are to answer very specific to your question, the important thing and the technical thing, what Joe Root does really well is he tries to play the ball really close to the ball. That is the very important thing and the basic thing. Whenever any kid goes to any coach in an academy or everywhere, everybody will tell a player to play the ball close to the body. When you play the ball close to the body, that means you are letting the ball to come closer to you. When you let the
Yeah.
ball come closer to you, you are obviously going to play the ball under your eyes. So that means you are really tracking the ball very well. When you chase the ball, when you try to find the ball, putting the bat hanging in the air, that means you are not able to judge the line or judge the length or judge the release point. So these are very important technical points, and he has been very consistent in this three test matches, not just this three test matches, right from the starting of the 2021 year, and that's the reason he's able to score runs. And the other
Yeah.
important thing is he's very strong on back foot. If a player is very strong on back foot, then he can literally manage not to get out and trying to play the balls and just play to his strength or play to his merit. If you look at the best example is Rahul Dravid. He's a very good player very good player who can really play on the back foot. He's been very successful. So Joe Root is also that kind of guy who is very good playing on the back foot. Generally, if you look at just the difference between Indian batsmen and Joe Root, what happened in this particular inning, most of the batsmen tried to play everything on the front foot. England bowlers were pitching it fuller, and during the first day there was a bit of help for the bowlers from the pitch, let it be weather conditions or let it be the pitch. The ball was swinging, and obviously Anderson and all these guys, they are very natural swingers. So the bowlers
Yeah.
bowling a fuller length ball, and the batsman trying to play the ball while the ball is moving or swinging or moving off the pitch or moving in the air or the natural swing. Obviously, you are going to take the edges. But whereas in Joe Root case, if the ball is slightly fuller, he's watching it. The reason why he was able to watch it because he knows and he wants to play the ball very close to the body. That's why
Right.
he was able to manage to drive the balls when there is no swing or when it is too full. When it is not too full, if it was short of good length, then he was leaving the ball. So the simple thing is he is playing very late, playing very good on the back foot, and watching the ball very closely, and leaving the balls when the balls are short of good length. So that made Joe Root's job easy. And when you're strong technically, when you're strong mentally, obviously you won't care whoever the bowler is. So he got the runs.
Okay, so that of course is a very detailed analysis of how Rakesh has looked at it for everybody who's tuned in. If you agree with what he has said, or rather, if you have your own analysis to make, please feel free to put that in. Before we wrap up, there's this question coming in about why India can't play different set of players every match. If it's if it's difficult to the opposition to make, actually it works because according to analysis, it has worked in Australia. They don't have plans for Shardul and Washington single. So Pratyay, would you like to take that one?
Well, see, I think India has the only reason, as I even said before the start of the match, that when once you win, you do not really
Yeah.
want to tinker the combination too much because it was a very comprehensive victory at Lords. 151 run is a massive margin. So I think that the
Yeah.
only reason they would have thought to persist with the same combination would have been that you do not want to unnecessarily alter too much. When you know that these set of players have delivered for us in the previous match, you do not even have any reason I mean, what do you say to someone that why are we asking you to sit out? I think that when you are talking about rest or rotation, ECB does that. ECB's rest and rotation policy, in fact, has even been in the line of fire because very often they even ask the better players to sit down, and that has actually backfired for them many a times. I mean, even in the India series, there were questions. Moeen Ali flew back to England in the middle of the series. There were few key players missing due to injury, and even that point of time, they were sticking with the rotation policy. It does help in a sense or two because of the workload management and everything, because these days a lot of cricket is happening. So maybe you can rest your players, but when you have delivered so properly in just the previous match, you might not want to change that combination. Is the only reason why I see that they would not have changed the combination. And also, as I said, that because in the last two games, because India's tailenders, see, you do not expect your tailenders to fire in every match. But here, out of the blue and very uncharacteristically, the lower order of India has contributed runs for two times. So maybe that was one of the reasons why India did not bring in Shardul Thakur despite him being fit. I mean, the reason R. Ashwin, I am surprised he has not yet managed to get a game, and I think that the only place now I see him playing is Manchester. But I think the reason I felt that maybe Shardul Thakur could have been brought uh, in place of, now in hindsight, definitely Ishant Sharma. Reason he was probably not brought in was again the winning combination, I feel, and the thing that India's lower order has able to contribute twice in the row, so they would have backed them to maybe do it again. But as it turned out, 78 all out. I mean, neither the top order nor the middle order, nor the lower order, no one fired really. But it's one of those test matches. I mean, we can be harsh on India, but yes, given the fact that they lead the series 1-0, I don't think that it's everything lost just yet for India. But yes, this match is something that it's still not over. But yes, 2 days of cricket that India would definitely not want to look back and really remember.
Okay, before we wrap up, Gaurav, a quick word from you. You probably have seemed to, you've given up, but I think there's some little bit of optimism left. So, if anything had to, let's say one player who could probably change things around if you were to place your bets on from Team India side, who would that be?
I think survival is the only key. As Pratay previously mentioned, the only way if weather doesn't play a part, if then also India have to save this as match, they have to put 600 runs on the board because the England are already having 345 runs lead and they still having two more wickets in hand. The tail enders can bat. The lead can even extend to 400 runs. I won't be surprised if that happens. So I think not many things are in India's favor. Everything they can do is to try and bat as long as possible. In this regard, I think Cheteshwar Pujara holds the key. He's someone who can stick his bat out in the middle. He can play 200 deliveries, 400 deliveries without much hassle if he's in his prime. But he hasn't been at his best in recent times. And same for the case for Virat Kohli or Ajinkya Rahane, people like that. So I think expectations are not high from Team India, and it will be interesting to see that if they can pull out something from here, I think it will be brilliant for India fans.
Okay, so basically, in short, of course, he's also talking about how the weather is going to be playing a big difference. We see a lot of questions, in terms of Virat Kohli's form. I think, honestly, we've spoken a lot about that. Like I even said in the, pre-match analysis, everybody was anxiously waiting for the skipper to come back and form. But on the other hand, Indian skipper has once again managed to, perform exceptionally well, and which is why it has pretty much resulted in India, right now in a situation where England is, of course, leading by 345 runs. On that note, I want to thank all our experts for joining us on the show. Thank you to everybody who's joined us on the show as well for this interactive session. We will see you tomorrow because we're as excited as you to be seeing what's going to be transpiring. So do not forget to join us once again on In the Air only on CricTracker.